Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Today's Sunday service, we call it a seminar or Sunday service. Every Sunday at 2:00, we give talks here in Happy Science based on the teachings of Master Liu Kawa. And today's one is on how to protect yourself from curses. And we'll have a movie called The Divine Protector, which is the latest movie from Happy Science. There's about 25 movies now in Happy Science, all based on the books from Master Kawa. He's now published more than 3,000 books. All of his books are just trying to teach us the truth. So what is the truth? Well, the truth is the reality of our existence, who we are, where we come from. Is there a world beyond this world? What is the meaning and purpose of our lives? These things are the truth. And they're really the most important things in our whole life to know, because it's like if you are driving a car, if you don't have a destination, how do you know where you're going? How do you know where to get there, how to get there, if you don't even have a destination? So Happy Science teaches us what is the meaning and the purpose of our lives, so we can steer our lives in a way so that we can get to our destination, our goal. So I saw somebody pointing towards the beautiful statue we have up here. So then very briefly, I'd just like to explain in Happy Science, you'll see the name of the Alcantari. Master explains that this is a revelation from the heavenly world, the name of God. So God in Christianity is called God, in Islam it's called Allah, in Buddhism it's called Eternal Buddha. There's been, some people call it the Supreme Being. So there's many names which just really represent the Supreme Being of the earth. So Master Kawa has revealed that the name of this God of the earth is Alcantari, and literally Alcantari means El means light. We can see the word El in the Old Testament, Elohim or El. Also the archangels all have El on the end of their name, like Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel. So El means light. Cantari means the earth. So literally Alcantari means light of the earth. So these teachings in Happy Science really embody all the various religions and teachings that we'll find in philosophy around the world throughout all time. So we are not a simple one type of religion based on one type of thinking. We really embody a universal truth, a universal teaching about what is the essence that's contained in all religions. In all religions, we can find something that's really eternal and really wonderful. Of course, we can also find differences. But the reason for the differences in religion is because of the people that were conveying the truth. For instance, in the Old Testament, Moses, he was a different character from Jesus, and his teachings were different. Jesus taught differently from Muhammad, so his teachings were different too. And master teachers, I won't go into it too much, but essentially each one of these saviors embody different colors of God's light. And the different colors of God's light have got different attributes or missions. Jesus is the white light, the light of love and salvation. Moses is the red light, justice, defeating evil, leadership, miracles. So after Moses, the people of Israel expected another leader like Moses. But when Jesus came and taught love, they said, you can't be the Messiah. We expect a teaching like this. So we living in the world today should not just, we should be more open-minded. We should look for the truth that's contained in teachings and take the truth out of it rather than look for the differences. Okay, that's a little background on Happy Science. I hope you can read some more books, come to more of our Sunday services, come to more of our meditation classes. And I've been studying this teaching since 1994 when I found the book, The Laws of the Sun, in the Auckland Public Library. And it's really changed my life. I really love having this wonderful teaching to guide me. It's like in Buddhism, they say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So my life really didn't change too much as far as what I had to do every day once I discovered the truth, but it gave me meaning to my life. And it made me understand the reason why troubles and difficulties and sometimes suffering come to us. And we can see it as an opportunity to learn something and an opportunity to grow and strengthen ourselves rather than something that's hurting me and something I need to get away from. And that changes everything. So first of all, let's watch an excerpt from, it's about 1 minute, actually it's a trailer from the movie that's on at 4:00 today, and it's called The Divine Protector. It's just about 1 minute long, and it'll give you an idea about the makeup of the movie. It is subtitled. It's in Japanese with English subtitles.
それは人の不幸を願う思い。
死ね。七子の首に死ね。あの野郎、殺してやる。
神はなぜ信仰深い人間の病気も治せない。
最年少で就任した天童翼さんです。
お父さん大丈夫ですか？
早く引退しろ。
呪い返し師っているんだ。
私は呪い返し師シオコ。
私はブッダに仕えるものである。
自分に死にたいなんて呪いをかけないでください。
人の幸福を壊す生き量、許すまじ。自分自身の正体を知れ。それでは払いましょう。
返し君は守る。
Okay, it's just a very short 1-minute excerpt, and she's quite amazing. And what it really does, it's so clever the way the movie's done, and like all Happy Science movies, it's not just done for entertainment, it's done to teach us something in a way that's really entertaining. So in this movie, we really get to see the different types of curses that people are putting on each other in everyday life. I used to think of a curse as something like you make a voodoo doll from somebody you don't like, and then you get a pin and you stick it in them and they hurt and they feel the pain from it. But actually, I realized from Master's teaching, our society is full of curses. A curse is just literally people wishing harm or ill on other people. And if you think about it, there's so much of it out there today. So we'll talk about that some more as we go along. There will be a new book coming out next month. As I said, just previously, Master Okawa has now published more than 3,000 books. 3,000 books. No, just let that sink in for a second. What it takes to publish 3,000 books. They say Buddha gave more than 84,000 sutras. So this is a tendency of the Buddha. I mean, Master is the Buddha of our time. This is a tendency of the Buddha. Once they attain enlightenment, the wisdom of the universe just flows forth. So it's not like if I wanted to write a book, I'd have to do a lot of study in my writings. I might receive some inspiration, but a lot of it would be coming from my own thinking. In Master Okawa's case, it's actually the wisdom flowing forth from a subconscious mind in the universe. So this next one will be the spiritual truth about curses and spells. How to get out of an unhappy life. It'll be available in the next few weeks. So first of all, let's think, what is a curse? Well, first of all, Master said, a curse is a strong wish to bring others unhappiness. That's why I say the world is full of curses. There's so many people wishing unhappiness on other people. And this is some of the things we'll look at today, how they're created and the type of mindsets. So what is the origin of a curse? So there's really two main points here. The first one is a living ghost, or a Japanese word is ikiryo. I never heard of ikiryo until I started with Happy Science. Ikiryo means a living ghost. And a living ghost is the strong negative thoughts of a living person directed at another person. Thoughts have power. Our thoughts have power. In the spirit world, thought is all there is. So when we have a thought, that thought actually goes out and becomes something. Actually, hell is fueled by the negative thinking of the people in the world today. That's how powerful thoughts are. Thoughts of enough people thinking negatively can actually fuel a whole realm in the hell. So this is the first point. It's when people have strong thoughts and those thoughts go out there and those thoughts attach themselves to another person. Now, if you think about it, what type of negative thoughts are in the world? There's so many different types. I mean, one can be, and we're going to cover these shortly, but as a couple of examples, there's a lot of jealousy in the world. There's a lot of hatred in the world, but there's also a lot of lustful thinking in the world. So when you see some of these beautiful models in the magazines that want to be glamorous and want to be famous and want to get so much attention from so many men, they think it's wonderful to be so famous, to get so much attention. But it actually creates a lot of suffering and difficulty for them, all the thoughts of all these people, lustful type thoughts attached onto them. So it's not such a great thing to be a beautiful model and be famous and want every man in the world wanting you, even though many people would think this would be an ideal. Another one is from a devil, a demon, an evil spirit, or a lost spirit. And the reason there's 4 different types, these are different levels of lost spirits. Or basically, when we talk about this, these are spirits with negative thinking. Now, very simply, Master teaches, in the world there's either love that gives or love that takes. Love that gives is a wishing of happiness for other people, a wishing to be of service to other people, and an enjoyment seeing other people happy. Love that takes is actually wanting to receive for myself and not caring about other people. But at the very dark side of this, at the devil or demon side, is actually an enjoyment in seeing other people suffering. I know no one in this room feels like that, but everybody has that potential. And actually, if we look back, we probably find there has been a time in our life, for example, let's say we failed in business and we were at a real low point in our life and we'd just gone through troubles. And then we heard of somebody else going through troubles. And actually we felt a little bit better because they're suffering also. We all have this potential. That's the beautiful thing about being a human. With free will, we can think or feel anything. There's no limits to it. But because of that, we have a responsibility to take control of our mind and guide our mind and always keep it pointed in the right direction. And that's really our soul training in this world. We're given a difficult environment, we're given a body to look after, we're given a natural instinctual type of love which says, I have to look after myself, like self-preservation. And that's important because otherwise we couldn't live. If we didn't have the self-preservation instinct, we would have died off a long time ago. So it's very important to have that. But we also have to rise above that and realize, actually, I'm more than just this physical body. I'm a spiritual being, and the essence of me is a soul and love. Yeah. So these spirits, demons or evil spirits or lost spirits, and we're going to see how they can affect people today's seminar, but it says spirits of people who have passed away that have strong feelings of resentment or hatred can curse the living. I've got a couple of excerpts today of where Master's done readings on people to look for the cause of illness. And what we find in there is both of these types of curses. One is the ikiro, where a person's receiving negative thinking from another family member. And another one is a lady who had actually, I'm not going to say too much, but she, in her last life, she had experienced some suffering and she had a curse on the people that had caused her suffering. But that had come back and it had caused her suffering in this life. We'll cover these later on. So, we're going to just very briefly go over how a living ghost or ikiryo is created. It's basically strong feelings of resentment or hatred in the surface consciousness that join with our guardian spirit. So you think, well, how does it join with our guardian spirit? Or what is a guardian spirit? Very simply, Master Okawa teaches that we ourselves have a soul. Each one of us is a soul, and we have a physical body. So we're not a physical body with a soul. Essentially, we're a soul that at the moment has a physical body while we're living in this world. But this soul that has descended in here actually is connected to a much greater spirit. So to put it in a way, think of my hand or your hand. This is one hand, but this one hand is made up of multiple components. I have 5 fingers and a palm. Our spirit is made up of 6 souls, which is us. We have a core, and then we have 5 branch souls or brother or sister souls. Actually, what's really interesting, Master teaches, is that sometimes they can be all male, sometimes they can be all female, or sometimes our spirit has a mixture of male and female souls in our spirit group. But myself at the moment is one of these souls as part of my spirit group that has come to earth, and it stays connected to my spirit, which is still in the heavenly world, and it stays connected by a silver cord in the top of my head. When we sleep at night, actually our soul leaves our body and goes back to the spirit world to bask in spiritual energy. That's why sometimes we can have deja vu, because in the other world, time is different. So sometimes we can be in our sleep and have a dream, and we might see something in the future. And then a day later or 2 days later, we see something and think, hang on, I saw that. I experienced that already. That's because we quite likely experienced it when we're back in the spirit world. But this part of myself is in the world at the moment undergoing soul training. Well, another part of myself, another one of my souls, is my guardian spirit. It's looking after me. It knows my life plan. It knows why I came here. It knows my goals. It knows my challenges. And it tries to send me inspiration. In order to receive that inspiration, I really need to be on the same wavelength as that soul, which is in heaven. So therefore, for me to really be able to tune in and receive the inspiration from my guardian spirit, I need to be able to create a heavenly state of mind. That's why we practice meditation. So meditation, of course, some people will teach meditation is to get a calm, peaceful mind, and that's true. But really the reason why we want such a calm, peaceful mind is not just to feel happy, it's so that we can actually connect with our guardian spirit and receive the inspiration from heaven. So, but our guardian spirit, because it's part of us, is very much thinks the same as us. So if I have a feeling of resentment towards another person and I have that strong resentment, I might, in my mind, convince my guardian spirit that I'm right and yes, that other person's wrong. And if I have a strong feeling of resentment towards them, my guardian spirit may actually join in me with that thinking and go and attach itself to that person. So that person is now living with my thought attached to their body. So this is how the ikiryo is created. Basically, I have strong feelings of resentment or jealousy or anger towards somebody. My guardian spirit, which is part of me, is agreeing with that, and then it attaches to that person and will generally create a suffering for that person. And that can happen in many ways. I know of people who get headaches when they are being attacked by another person. So people who are really spiritually sensitive may often get headaches if they're being attacked in some way. Or another way is an evil spirit with a similar mindset joins the ikiryo, and the negative energy will be stronger. So, as I said before, there are these different types of spirits, from devils, demons, evil spirits, or lost spirits. Lost spirits are really people who are living in this world. When they died, they still didn't believe in life after death. There's many people in the world today who don't believe in life after death, and they become wandering spirits or lost spirits. And Master Okawa sees so many of them in the world today. And often they will hang around the places where they were born. They'll hang around their families. They'll hang around their workplaces. And they will try to influence the people around them. And often, if they died of an illness, which many people do die of illnesses, the person who they attach themselves to, which is usually a person who has a very similar mindset to them, sometimes will actually end up with the same illness. So if you have a relation that died of an illness, and then you find that you have the same illness that they died of, it's quite likely that you're actually being possessed by a living ghost or by that spirit. They're not a living ghost, they're dead now, by the spirit of that person. So, and that's why I say, when we study the truth and happy science, to know these things changes everything, because then we know why something happens. And today we're going to also, towards the end of the seminar, know how to stop it from happening. And if it does happen, how to resolve it, how to cure it. So the type of mindsets that cause people to create the ikiryo, and I think we can all see, we've all got this capability, but we also see there's so many people in the world that do have this. We've got greed, which is excessive desire, anger, ignorance, conceit, jealousy, resentment. These are the type of things that actually can cause people to create an ikiryo. So for instance, there's a lot of people have anger. If a person tends to have a lot of anger in their life, then it's easy for them to create this ikiryo, to really feel some sort of hatred towards another person, and that will create an ikiryo. Jealousy, Master said jealousy is one of the strongest ones, and we're going to cover jealousy in here today, about what causes jealousy and how we can overcome jealousy. Now, the internet and social media is full of ikiryo. You just need to go onto Twitter or anything, and you just see so many people attacking each other. And it might seem only like words, but what's behind words? It's a thought. There were never words without a thought. And if we think about it, in the Christian religion teaching, first there was the word, right? How important is the word? The word is so important. The word, everything was created by the word. It starts with the word. Communism is full of ikiryo. You might say, how's communism full of ikiryo? Actually, because communism is really people who don't have are learning to hate the people that have. So it's really a hatred against the wealthy. Actually, really, I think in America now, and you look at their political system between the Democrats and the Republicans, there's so much hatred. It's unbelievable between the two sides. Mass media is full of ikiryo. Now, when I was thinking about the different things in the world today, one of the movements that I thought created a lot of negativity in the world was the Black Lives Matter movement. That created so much hatred. It was trying to make everybody hate white people. So this is the sort of thing that's creating a big wave of darkness in this world. I'm not going to get into too much about this, because this is really something that Master talks about, maybe for another seminar, but there actually is a force in the world that's trying to turn the values of this world upside down. God's value is love. God is light, and God's value is love. But there is an energy that's trying to reverse this and take over the world to create a negative energy, in which would turn this world into hell realm. We're not going to get into that too much today, but there really is it's been going on for a long, long time. But each one of us can be warriors of light by spreading light and love into this world. And that's really what Master wants to do. He said, I'm an angel maker. So we can each be responsible for fighting this battle. Anyway, I'd now like to play an excerpt from Master. He's actually quite a bit younger here, a few years back, where he's going to explain about how we're affected by the various wavelengths. See, like I said, thoughts have power. So all of our thoughts always have power. If you think of all the thoughts that are being put out there today, we might think we're living individual lives. I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of how I'm thinking. But actually, as Master explains here, we may not be always living a life as freely as we think we are.
Even if you think you are making your own decisions and leading your life independently, you may be being carried along by one spiritual current. You may think you are in a big boat, steering the engine and rudder at will. But from an objective viewpoint, you may be like a leaf boat, being swept down a rapid stream, unable to go against the current. There are many who are hitting a bump or falling into a waterfall as they are swept down. This unconscious process must be looked at closely. Am I in a good flow or a bad flow? You need to constantly check this. If you think, I thought I am steering the ship, but I might be swept away, you need to think, is this really the right direction? Is this the way of life guided by my own subconscious mind or by higher beings of light? Or is something getting in the way? You need to think about this all the time. And if you are in the wrong stream, you have to ask yourself, what I think is me may not really be me. Have I been deprived of my rudder? Various other personalities and spiritual beings are constantly influencing one's own personality. Just as television and radio waves are flying through the air, waves of various thoughts are flying through the air in this world. The thought energy of the living is flying around, and the thoughts of those who have died and are no longer in this world are also flying around. You may think you are living on your own, but you are actually affected by many different influences. And there are quite a few influences from other worlds that make you unhappy. But we should not blame it solely on things from other worlds. Something in you is inviting it, and it is you who is channeling it. We need to think carefully about what is in tune with it. Most of the time, it is too much greed, or being too pessimistic, bullying and tormenting oneself. Too much greed is a protrusion of character, which is being impudent. Another protrusion is picking on oneself too much, becoming passive and dark, and thinking in the worst and negative way. Both extremes will torment you. So you must train yourself to take the middle way when you think you've gone too far. This training to enter the middle way is one of the paths to egolessness. In this way, we should make time to cut off contact and interaction with bad things. As you correct your mind, the light will gradually come out. A round light will come out from around your body. When comes out the light, the possessing spirit cannot stay in possession. They may come back again and again, but when the light is coming out, they cannot stay in possession and become away from you longer time. A person who you may think is becoming mild can be rough again when the spirit comes back. But it becomes less and less, and the personality changes like a different person. Then you can be disconnected from bad things.
So there's a law in the spirit world called like wavelengths attract. And it's actually, the spirit world is the world of thought. But that law actually also works here. If I have got a way of thinking in my mind, I'll attract some of the wavelengths from around me to me as well. So, and that, you know what, there's a beautiful thing about that. It means I can take responsibility. It means that I don't have to be at the whim of outside forces. I myself can avoid them by taking control of my own mind. Yeah, and this is one of the keys in happy science, that each one of us can take responsibility and control of our own lives and our own mind. So let's actually, when his master was talking about that, I was thinking about the most obvious time that we see that when people suddenly change. I guess everybody here has friends who they've seen them in one light and they've seen them in another light when they seem to have suddenly changed. But probably the time I've most seen that with friends is when somebody gets drunk. You know, some people become a happy drunk, but other people become a violent drunk, or some people become abusive and rude. And I think maybe everyone has seen somebody who, when they drink too much, they completely change. Well, I must have spoken before about this, that there are sometimes lost spirits who might have passed away, but they had an addiction to alcohol. And what they look for on this earth is a person with a similar mindset to them, and who also likes to drink alcohol, and they will try to encourage that person to go down to the bar and have a drink, and they'll start drinking, and then they can encourage them to have another drink, and then they're actually possessing that person. So they're sharing the body because they want to have the experience of being drunk again. So all the teachings of happy sides are very logical as we more and more understand and see the spirit world and this world as being together and overlapped. The teachings of happy sides are always very clear and very easy to understand, very logical. Yeah. So let's watch this next one. This is an excerpt I'd like to show next. It's out of a previous movie called The Real Exorcist. And this is showing how an iklyo is created from jealousy. Iklyo, which is a living ghost, is created from jealousy. Let's just watch this. And this movie is available afterwards. If anyone would like to watch it, let us know. We can send you a link. You can always watch it online or come here to watch it.
ねえ、これどう思う？似合うかな？
かわいいよ。でもさ、初めて会ったよ。本物の霊能者。
あんまり深入りしない方がいいんじゃない？
いやだって本当にその子のおかげで命拾いしたんだよ。
ミュールも欲しいな。
おお、いいんじゃない？
お姉ちゃん、どうしたの？
今日か、みんなそっちに行ってない？
みなちゃん？知らないよ。
家の前で遊んでたのに帰ってこないのよ。
みなちゃんも無事見つかったし今回のことはありがとう。なんかイサム最後かっこよかったし。
いやいや、お礼ならさゆりさんに言ってくれよ。みなちゃんを見つけてくれたのはさゆりさんだし、俺はたださゆりさんならこう言うんじゃないかなって思ってさ。
戻るか。ありがとう。
だからただのボランティアだよ。
ボランティアなら別のところでもできるじゃない。他の女と2人でやることないでしょ。
エクストラを頼ってくる人がいるんだ。俺も誰かの役に立てて嬉しいし。
ねえ、明日私オーディションなんだけど覚えてるよね。帰り迎えに来てくれる？
ああ、ごめん。明日はさゆりさんと悩み相談行く約束してて。
はあ？
分かった。分かった。
最近イサムとあんまり一緒にいなくない？確かに
忙しいみたい。
へえ。イサムってほんと京香の言うことなら何でも喜んで聞きますって感じで、正直羨ましいんだけどほんと従順だよね。
従順ね。
でもイサムみたいなタイプって案外モテるよね。そうそう、油断してると肉食系女子に横取りされちゃったりして、だから京香と超お似合いなの。
イサムの嘘つき。あの女さえいなければ。
とにかくもうさゆりって子には会わないで。イサムが目当てに決まってるから。
そんなことないよ。俺もいろいろと勉強になって楽しいし。
それならそのことの LINE とかメール見せて。
いいよ。 純粋に困ってる人の力になりたくてやってるだけなんだよ。
こんなのどうして信じられんの？
俺も初めはそう思った。けど本当なんだ。たたりを起こす幽霊も本当にいるし、あの世ってのも本当にあるんだ。迷信じゃないんだ。
なんなのそれ、気持ち悪い。あの子の味方ばっかり。もういい。
京香。
Okay, just to give a little bit of background in the movie about what had happened here was that this boy had found a girl who was working to get rid of people, evil spirits that were possessing people. And he'd met her by chance, but he'd seen the results of it. And he was himself, he was really pure in his heart. When he saw what she did, he also really wanted to be able to help people like that. So he was really enthusiastic and wanting to learn. And of course, as we saw there, when he tried to explain to his girlfriend, she didn't believe him and she thought that he was having an affair with her and was getting involved with her. So she built up jealousy in her mind. And then even there with her friends, you know, even friends were sort of from the side, maybe suggesting that maybe he could be seeing somebody else. You can see actually even with in the world of spirits trying to affect people, if there was a malicious spirit, it could be influencing people to say something to, you know, her friends to say to her, oh, I think he could be seeing somebody else. You know, this is the way they work. So sneakily behind the scenes, trying to build up this jealousy and this resentment. But it was her strong thoughts. Later on in the movie, you see the effect that this has with her sending these strong thoughts of die to this girl. This is it. Look, it seems so simple, right? But this is happening every day in the world today. People becoming jealous in relationship with boys and girls, men and women, over each other. And then that just creates so many problems. And one of the things Master's going to talk about here a little bit later on is how jealousy, when we have feelings of jealousy, it actually pushes us away from our ideal. So we only become, I don't want to say too much about it because we're going to talk about it shortly, but jealousy, we only feel jealous of something that is in our field of interest. For instance, if I wanted to be an All Black and from New Zealand, and if I had been playing rugby and training at rugby and working hard, and maybe I didn't make the ability to make an All Black, but then maybe a friend of mine or somebody I knew got selected to play for the All Blacks, I could feel jealous of that person. You know, if I let my mind run wild, I might feel jealous of them. Or if I wanted to be a musician and then someone else I knew progressed better than me, or if I wanted to do well in the exam at school and somebody else did better than me, I could feel jealous. So people really only feel jealous of people who have got something in their field of interest. I mean, in this girl's case, she really wanted to be loved by her boyfriend. She wanted the attention of her boyfriend, but she felt this other girl was getting the attention of her boyfriend. But you can see, and we see in the movie as it goes along, through her feeling of jealousy, it actually pushed them apart. You know, it creates a problem between them. So always remember that. Jealousy will push us away from our ideal. We have an ideal in our mind of what we'd like to be like or what we'd like to do. And if ever we're feeling jealous, realize that there's a chance that actually there's something about that person, what they're doing or what they're like, that I really admire, what is part of my ideal.
As I see it, about 70% of illnesses are when you are under spiritual disturbance, a situation when you are influenced by the spirits of the dead, which are stray spirits or evil spirits, or else possessed by small demons or even greater devils. Otherwise, there are many cases in which thought clouds of diseases are created by a grudge from a living person you've met in the course of your life, which then manifests on the body. When Ikryo, spirit of a living person, comes, it is true that one can become ill, lesions can appear, and suddenly one can have a fever. In some people, increased blood pressure or very low blood pressure may occur. In such cases, it is often caused by Ikryo. Therefore, we should not make too much fun of the old stories. Now, in the name of science, we just don't perceive it anymore. Often scientific is just being far from the truth. Human beings can create illnesses. Humans are life energy itself. So we can alter part of this life energy to create even an ailment. Whereas it is possible to make an illness disappear, it is also possible to create an illness. If you're on the receiving end of someone's strong grudge, or if you're possessed by someone's ikrio, spirit of a living person, and are constantly under that person's curse, an evil spirit that is attuned to that ikrio can come and lend power to it. Then a lesion can develop in your body. It does not take long for this to happen. A lesion can develop in less than a day. However, by having the right faith and becoming connected to a righteous, guiding spirit, you can make the lesion disappear.
Master Okawa, I guess we've all heard of miracles, and many people would like to have a miracle in their life. And so what is the principle behind a miracle? A principle behind a miracle is, and we often have kigans, which are ritual prayers here at Happy Science. A miracle is really when we make a prayer towards somebody, wishing for something good to happen to them. Maybe a person has an illness and we want it to be cured, so we pray for them. Dear Lord Alcantari, please help this person, please help them overcome their illness. And then if their illness is cured, it's because from the heavenly world, there's some sort of good energy, light energy, love energy, high spirit has helped to bring a healing power to heal that person. That's how a miracle can happen. We make a prayer, and if the conditions are right from the other person's mind and from the heavenly world's decision, a miracle can happen. But this is the opposite of that. This is when a person has an ill will towards a person, and this evil spirit or bad spirit on the other side that also wants to add to its power, takes it the other way and can create an illness or a lesion in a person. So it's just the opposite. It's the opposite of a miracle. God never wants to create people suffering. He creates suffering for people, or high spirits never want to create suffering for people, but evil spirits can. So this is really just the flip side. Well, here we're going to watch this is really amazing. This is a reading from Master on a man's father. I think he's about 81 or 82 years old, and he's had various cancers in his life. And it's like the man takes Master Okawa to, it's one of the small offices, Shibus they're called. It's a local temple in Japan. And he takes him there, and the man must have had an opportunity to get a reading. And you can see at the beginning, the man basically is blaming his father. And it's like he wants Master Okawa to tell him off, why he's getting ill all the time. It has a little bit of a turn of events. So let's watch.
My father, who was 82 years old, is hard of hearing. He had ear cancer in his 40s, colon cancer in his 60s, and esophageal cancer recently. I want to know what he needs to change, but he does not listen to me. So I took him here today. Why has he had cancer so many times? We have to examine what causes his cancer first. Shall I examine it? What is your father's name? He is next to you, isn't he? All right, thank you. Please give me a second. Why does this person have cancer repeatedly? The reason resides in you. There are two reasons. First, you have conflicted each other quite a bit, haven't you? You must have had conflicts with your father in the past. What is this confliction about? The both of you seem excellent, and you are competing with each other. but you have conflicts with your father about who is superior. I can hear your mind saying, "Shut up, Dad." I can hear your inner voice. "Shut up, Dad. I am more important than you already." I sense that your voice, "Shut up, Dad," has caused his ear cancer. His diseases stem from conflict between father and son. Despite your will to help him, you seem to have a conflict, which causes his disease. This is one of the reasons. You must not compete with your father. You have to aim towards saving other people in the world. Your father is the one who you should be thankful for, not competing with. That is one of the reasons. And there is one more. Another reason is something associated with your childhood, I suspect. I think there is another reason in your childhood. I think you had something that you really wanted to do, but you were not allowed to do. You must have had something you wanted to realize and had been told no by your father. Anything you can remember? Regarding the age you were, a little bit earlier, before you started to form your own thoughts. Or it could have been even earlier, so you may not remember. When you reflect upon yourself year by year, from the time of your birth, you will surely remember that you had something you really wanted to do, which your father blocked, and you got very frustrated. You probably had felt a lot of unhappiness at the time, which you don't remember now. You will remember it. Due to these two reasons, I say you have caused his cancers. So it is wise to try not to be superior to your father. Otherwise, you will generate many diseases through your resistance. I myself had a stroke last May, so I am not surprised at your indications. Those who get brain infarction are considered to be short-tempered and hysterical. So literally, it goes to their heads. So it is good to have peace in the mind to not cause brain infarction. In other words, it's important not to make your blood boil and not let it go to the head. So you'd better make efforts to lower the blood down to the lower abdomen. When you attain an unshakable mind and have the heart of a good person, you achieve a sense of stability and do not get angry over little things. I think you should let your father do as he likes. Those who you are supposed to save are many others. It's good enough to have lived for 82 years already. He deserves his freedom. You do not have to think that you should control him. Since there are many people waiting for your help, you'd better help those people.
As I have often said in the past, jealousy is a very tough thing to deal with, and it should be experienced from a young age. When people feel jealousy of a person, it is often because your area of interest overlaps with him or her. In short, we feel jealousy when it comes to things that we wish we could be like. For example, a person who wants to be praised for painting well or wants to become a professional painter will be jealous if he sees someone who also paints and is good at it. However, if you are not interested in painters or in painting, you will not feel anything in particular when you see good paintings. You say things like, this is good, and don't care a bit. If you are jealous of a person who is good at music, it means that your interest is in that area. If you're interested in dancing, you'll be jealous of a good dancer. Also, people who are interested in studying will be jealous of those who do well in their studies. Or if you're interested in English, you'll be jealous of those who do well in English, and you will not be tempted to make fun of those who cannot. I felt that way and struggled a lot when I was younger. But I have changed my mind about this. I think the biggest struggle I had was when I was about 20 years old. In short, I understood intellectually that people who are jealous of an object that they want to be like, and that by doing so, they are moving away from it. The other party is your ideal image. Although you want to be like him, by being jealous and finding fault with him, you are ultimately moving away from the ideal image. It is like rowing a boat with oars and going away from the shore. If you want to be like that person, you must affirm him instead of being jealous or critical of him. You need to say something like, this person is wonderful, or I wish I could be like that. When you see someone who you think is more capable or more talented than you should praise him. If you think you have lost yourself by doing so, you are thinking shallowly. Praising will actually make you greater. When you praise people, they think you are a person with a big capacity to praise people. They will think that you have a large capacity and that it is safe to reveal themselves before you. Therefore, when you feel jealousy, resentment, or various other negative thoughts, one way to deal with it is to recognize and affirm the good things about the other person by creating the opposite thought.
This is a key point for getting rid of jealousy. And thinking, one of the key things that people in the world feel jealous of is people with wealth, people who have accumulated, people who would say are rich. But in actual fact, I remember once Master talking about this before, that if you have a desire to become rich or wealthy and you have feel jealous towards wealthy people, it'll be very hard to approach that ideal, because you'll say, well, rich people are greedy, or rich people are just focused on money, that's all they care about. And in your mind, you picture rich people as being bad. So you never want to move towards someone who's bad. So there's a bit of a conflict inside. You want to be like that, but your subconscious mind is telling you you're bad if you're like that, so you can never move there. So he suggested, actually, if instead of that you praise them and say, hey, they've done well, of course, we don't want to be praising people who have ripped people off to become rich, but people who have done it genuinely by creating a great product. Steve Jobs, Apple computers, how wonderful. So many people benefiting now from Apple computers because of him, and Apple became so successful. So we can say, congratulations, I've done so well. I also plan to be wealthy one day. I also would like to be wealthy so I can use my wealth to help other people as well. And actually, if we know people who are wealthy, we can also directly congratulate them. Oh, so how did you do it? That's so great. I really think it's so fantastic what you've done. How did you do it? And if people see in us a feeling like that we respect them and like them in that way, they'll be happy to tell us how they did it, and we can get some clues, and they may even help us. Oh, what sort of ideas have you got? Oh, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to help you do that. But if they see resentment in us and jealousy in us, there's no way that we're ever going to get help from other people. Yeah. So Master said, we feel jealous when it comes to things that we wish we could be like. And by being jealous, we are moving away from our ideal image of ourselves. He mentioned about a boat, rowing a boat and it moving away from the shore. That's because in a previous book he wrote about how if you're rowing a boat, as you get close to the shore, as you row, the waves that you make actually hit the shore and then came back and pushed the boat away. So it's very hard to actually, as you're getting close to the shore, to get close to so some ways it's better to actually stop rowing and let the boat move on its own. But the idea was that our waves of thought can be pushing us away from that ideal. He said, when you see someone who you think is more capable or more talented than you should praise them. Same with dancing. He mentioned a dancer. If I was a dancer, if I saw someone who's a really good dancer, if I felt resentful and jealous of that person and they felt that, they're not going to want to show me or teach me anything. But if I admire them and tell them and give them a compliment and say, wow, I really love your dancing. How long have you been studying? How did you learn? What techniques did you use? They'll be so happy to help me and I can improve myself. So it's a wonderful feeling too, to feel like that towards people, to admire them for something they're good at rather than feeling jealous, because nobody feels happy when they're jealous. Okay, this one's another one we Master did a reading on a lady who has rheumatoid arthritis. So Master's explained before that rheumatoid arthritis is often caused by spiritual possession, and therefore it can actually be cured very quickly. It's not like the arthritis that people get from some sort of problems with their bones, but it's more like having trouble with it, with the moving things or things locked up, joints locked up. And here we see the other type of ikiryo. So the one that we watched a minute ago was from a son who had poured negative thinking on his father. But this is the other one. This lady created something from her past life. I find this one really fascinating. This just shows how past, present, and future are all connected. So the way we're living today, who we are today, where we're born, the sort of person we are, is so much connected to our past lives. Therefore, really, we should be careful how we live today, because it's going to affect our future life. If we want to have a good life in our next life, we really need to make an effort today to plant good seeds. If I plant weeds, in the future, there's going to be weeds. If I plant beautiful flowers, in the future, there's going to be beautiful flowers. So I think in happy science, like with the mind, the teaching of the mind, it's a little bit like looking after a garden. My mum's a great gardener, and she's always out there in the garden though. And what does she have to do? She's forever, I used to think it was a little boring, but I understand it a bit more now, but she's forever pulling up weeds and planting new plants and giving them the right nutrients to grow. And she's got a beautiful garden. But when you leave the garden and you don't touch it, it doesn't stay like that. You leave a garden for 6 months and come back. Do you really think it's all the beautiful plants have grown and the weeds haven't bothered to come back? No, it gets overrun by weeds. And our mind's a bit like that. If we don't pay attention to what we're thinking, what's going on in our mind, because we have this tendency of self-preservation, instinctual love that's naturally in us, there's ways of thinking which are conceited or selfish come up just naturally. So it's really important to treat the mind like a garden and look in there, see what's in there and pull out the weeds. And when you find something that's beautiful, promote it, make it grow, cherish it. So that's like, giving the nice plants some nutrients and make them grow bigger and stronger. So let's watch this excerpt from Master giving the reading to the lady with the rheumatoid arthritis.
I have connective tissue disease. Incurable and rare diseases are said to be associated with past lives. Please guide me on how to overcome karma of past lives. How long have you had it? For about 5 years. I will examine you without violating your privacy. Is that all right? Yes, please. I will try to choose words carefully so you won't be misunderstood by others. Oh, it's fine. All right? Yes. What I see is a castle burning down. It's probably your past life. I see a castle which is burning down. It is a castle that was attacked and fell down. Women were not saved either. They were burned to death. Presumably, your disease has something to do with this. When you died in your previous life, possibly in the age of provincial wars, you were not the only one who died. Some of them killed themselves. Let me see if you killed yourself. Excuse me for searching how you died. It is a very sensitive subject. You did. Yes, you did. You are cutting your throat with a short knife, holding it like this. I see that women are killed and that the castle is burned down. That is what happened. Then what is causing your disease? Is that it? I see. After you died, you had a feeling that you couldn't accept this. You are frustrated. It is frustrating, isn't it? So you put a curse on them after you died. You casted a curse. There are signs that you intended to haunt those who destroyed you. I see that you tried to curse them to death by means of psychic power. After a while, you eventually got over it, but it was not easy to accept the situation right after death. It seemed difficult to accept the absurdity of a man's world, judging from the way you died. Some frustration from having been born as a girl. It would be acceptable if having been born male and died in a battle. It's unforgivable to kill women and children with fire. You had such frustrations. You seem to have haunted people for quite a while as a ghost bearing a grudge. I see you had been a vengeful ghost for 50 years. You eventually returned to heaven after being persuaded. I assume that you had cursed them for 50 years. The opponent that you cursed, I sense, is associated with the Sanada family. Well, I think that has appeared in your body now. The way to overcome this is, since you have the debt that you have cast a curse, you have to pay off this debt in this lifetime. You need to pay off the debt corresponding to the 50-year curse with good deeds in this lifetime. It has to be the opposite to the negative you have done. What you are trying to do is to help and spread love among the youth. It is precisely a deed that will harvest your karma. I think your disease will heal when you practice the activity enough to cancel out your 50-year curse. You can heal it. She is beautiful, but would be very scary if she became a ghost. Would you want to be haunted? It would be very scary. The more beautiful, the more scary the ghost she could become. It is surely scary. You had a period of time when you had grudges, so you have to pay for them. You have to get over that hatred with love. It is important to embrace with strong love. Your starting point was below zero. So please give love to many people. Then your disease will disappear without you knowing.
Yeah, I loved her attitude. She's hearing this, she's laughing, like she could accept it, she could accept it. But interestingly enough, not long after this reading, her rheumatoid arthritis disappeared as well. So it's like it's a strange thing. Once people understand something, the problem goes away just by understanding it. And the other thing I think we can really take from this is that even if we could be called justified for our hatred or negative feeling, she was in a castle. The enemy came, burnt down the castle, killed the women and the children. You'd be justified to hate these people. You'd be justified to want to hurt them back. It feels like that should be fine. But it doesn't change the fact that you actually have those feelings and you create that hatred and you create that problem. So it actually creates a bad karma for you. So even if you are justified, if something seems justifiable, it still creates a problem for us. So that's why we should never feel these things. Don't allow ourselves to feel it, even if we think that we are justified in it, because it actually just hurts us. Poison is poison. It doesn't matter whether we are justified in taking the poison or not. It's still poison. So let's listen now. Master, he's doing an excerpt now on how to repel a curse. So these have been curses. One was the curse, she put a curse on other people. Actually, and at that time that she was doing that, there might have been other evil forces that jumped in that also wanted to create curses on the people that she was cursing. So let's listen. Master's going to talk about how to repel a curse. Towards the end of today, we will have a couple of short meditations too, because Master will soon explain, not quite in this one, but in another, how we can, be sure that we're not giving curses to other people ourselves, because this is the other side of it, right? We're talking about receiving curses, but we really have to be careful that we in our lives don't curse other people. But today we'll have a couple of short meditations to make sure we're not doing curses, but also to be able to repel curses that people might send our way.
When resentment toward the other person is so strong that it has become cursing the other person, there are two ways to break this curse. One is to break the curse by sending a blessing to the person who curses you. The other is to break the curse by making your heart shine like a mirror by reflecting on what you have missed. These are the two ways. One way to deal with jealousy, resentment, and various other negative thoughts is to produce the opposite thought, recognizing and acknowledging the good qualities of the other person. The other way is to avoid receiving such negative thoughts by reflecting on what you have done or said too much and making your mind shine like a mirror. Once the mirror is polished to shine, it will return. If it does not possess you, it will return to the other party and you will not have to be affected by it. As such, it would be good to make it a habit to either bless or reflect. This is my answer.
So clear, so straight. So Master said, two ways to repel curses from jealousy, resentment, and various other negative thoughts. First is sending a blessing to the person who curses you. And the second one was to make your heart shine like a mirror by reflecting on what you have missed. Now, when you say, what does he mean by on what you have missed? So for instance, if I'm a person and one of the people shown in this movie later on is a person who's very successful, but he becomes very arrogant. And so while he's arrogant, even though he's successful, he's arrogant, is conceited as well. Many people are putting curses on him because of his arrogance. So when he says what I've missed, if we have become successful and we are arrogant, we need to practice self-reflection to recognize that arrogance in ourselves and get rid of it. If we get rid of it, then people won't put curses on us. They won't feel hurt. If instead of that, if we created some success and used our success to benefit other people and help other people, people would celebrate our success. People who actually use their success to make other people happy and benefit other people, people celebrate their success and people won't be resentful. But if I become boastful and braggy and what in Japanese it's called a tengu. Tengu is like a long-nosed goblin. And these, I've got a long nose. I hope I'm not a long-nosed goblin. But if we have that tendency, we can get rid of it by reflecting, and it's more having a gratitude towards everybody else. I mean, the only reason people can become successful in this world is because there are other people. My success, if I create success, is because there's other people in the world and they help me to be successful. So I should, in my mind, be really grateful to everybody and think, what can I do to give back to these people? And these feelings will be something that stop us being affected by anybody's feeling of jealousy towards us. Okay, let's listen to this next excerpt from Master Repel. Once again, he's talking about some more about the repelling the curses.
No one is perfect, so you never know where you might incur someone's enmity. It is possible to persuade the other party and repel its curse. But since you might be responsible to the problem, you should also make efforts to reflect on yourself and reconcile with the other party. However, although you've gone through self-reflection, if you still continue to experience unreasonable physical attacks and other things that make your body hurt or worse, then I think it is a level where you must exercise it. Basically, you can exercise through faith, studying the truth, and practice of rituals, etc. The other is to always imagine and strive to make your mind smooth and polished as a mirror to make curses bounce back. Then the mirror will reflect the cursed person's own ugly face. The ultimate way to repel a curse is to do this meditation. Before that, it is important to practice the full moon meditation, making an image of the full round moon in your mind. And the next step after this meditation is a mirror meditation. After achieving the full moon meditation, imagine a smooth, polished circular mirror in your mind and make your mind transparent. For those that are emitting bad thoughts, mirror them. And they will bounce back to them. Then they will have to take it. When you feel, I am being jealous, it is important to bounce back by going into the full moon meditation and to the mirror meditation. Then the other party will just spontaneously self-destruct on its own. So you don't need to attack them that much. Still, they will be returning back. In principle, if your mind has been polished like a shiny mirror, these negative thoughts will bounce back to the person who emitted them. But if you stand on the same playing field as the other person, their punches can hit you, though you may also be able to punch the other person. So you need to strive to not stand on the same playing ground. As long as you keep your mirror clean, negative thoughts will be repelled. Ikryō or minions of Ikryō may spiritually attack you, so it is necessary to master the art of repelling spirits. The art of repelling spirits means creating a state of mind that allows you to become one with God or Buddha, and maintaining a mind that is calm as the surface of a still lake or as clean as a polished mirror. This polished mirror will show the devil-like image of the other person, or the person turning into an animal and trying to attack you. So in principle, you need to create a mirror-like mind that will reflect the other person's desires, to inflict pain on you, lead you to ruin, or destroy your life. Then you will be able to repel those negative thoughts. So polish your mind until you can do this.
Thank you, Master Okawa. Yes, so shortly we're going to practice the full moon meditation in creating the mirror in the mind. But it was interesting, Master said there, don't play on the same playing field. So it's like if you get on the field with someone, you have a combat with them, you're just going to fight each other with negative thinking and accusations. But he said it's more important. He mentioned about faith, study the truth, and certain rituals. So in Happy Science, for instance, studying the truth, I mean, just what we're doing today, this is studying the truth. Studying the truth means knowing these the things that can happen, knowing the curses, the way they're created, knowing the type of mindset that can create them and how to avoid them. So this is what studying the truth means. If we don't actually try to make an effort to learn these things, how can we know them? And if we don't know them, how do we know how to avoid them, repel against, fight against them? So in this one here, we'd like to now, first of all, practice a meditation. It's only 6 minutes long. It's called Meditation of the Full Moon. And it's part of in Happy Science, we have every morning, we have a 4-stage meditation, which we actually play online. So you actually can tune in every morning online. Our prayers start at 9:15 and go to around about 10 o'clock. And the meditation's from about 9:30 until 10 o'clock. And you can go online and do that at home if you want, or you're welcome to come to the temple. But our 4-stage meditation has got 4 parts. I'm not going to explain them all, but this is the third part of it. And it's called the full moon meditation. And in it, we imagine our mind is like a full moon, because Master Okawa said ultimately our mind should be perfectly round and like a full moon, reflecting the light of God. When a person he sees a person's mind like that, but he sees that actually we've got different aspects to our mind, and certain parts can become blown up, and some parts can become weaker or indented. So, for instance, we have logic, and we have emotion, and we have will. He explains there's 4 different parts. So, if a person is really emotional, it might be the emotional part becomes actually a little bit bloated, or if a person's lacking logic, the logical part might actually be not quite well formed. So we try to create an ideal, perfectly rounded mind. But in this one, this is really about being able to imagine our mind as being round and reflecting the full moon. There'll be a picture of the full moon to help us get that image in our mind, and imagine. And our mind is actually centered here. Like people think of the mind as being up here, but this is our brain. This is like a computer that's used for thinking. But the mind, really, which is our self, is more like the software that runs through the computer, right? People think so. Our brain is, it's like scientists might tell us that that when the brain's dead, that's it. But actually, our mind is the core of our soul. Our thinking is us. Our ability to think and what we think, that is actually us. So let's start with please just get comfortable. Like I said, it lasts about 6 minutes. Close your eyes or watch the screen if that helps to get the image of the full moon. And just create a nice image of your mind down in here, becoming like this full moon, perfectly white, perfectly reflecting the light of God, the light of Buddha.
それでは次に第3禅に入ります。
We will now enter the third meditation.
これは満月瞑想です。
This is the full moon meditation.
満月瞑想にはいく種類かありますが、あなた方の心の中に満月を描く方法。
There are several versions. The first is to visualize the full moon.
湖面に映った満月を見つめる方法。
The second is to contemplate on the full moon reflecting on a lake.
そして密教の阿字観にも似て、満月そのものの中に自分が入り込み、自分自身が満月となる方法があります。
The third is to enter the full moon and become the moon itself, like the Ajikan meditation in esoteric Buddhism.
今日はこの3番目の満月瞑想をやります。
We will be practicing the third version.
あなた方は満月を見つめ、この満月そのものになり生きるのです。神仏の子としての実相は、この満月、光り輝ける満月そのものであるのです。では静かに前に合掌に戻してください。
Please visualize the full moon and become the moon itself. Your true form as a child of God is like this shining full moon. Gently bring your hands together in prayer.
Please open your eyes. Okay, next I have one final meditation, but just before that, something that Master Okawa has said before, that there's different ways of accepting words from other people. So if somebody says something to us, there's various ways we can accept it. One could be like being chiseled into rock. And if somebody says maybe something offensive to us, we may chisel those words in rock and we may dwell on them for a long time and hold some sort of resentment against them for a long time. Or another way of writing something is to write it in the sand. And if you write something in the sand, maybe it lasts for a day or two or a week or something, but it's there for a little period of time and we dwell on it and we think about it. It might affect us and might cause us to have certain feelings. And the third way of writing, which is the way he suggests that we should do all the time, is like writing in water. So when you write something in water, you see it and it's gone. So with this way of thinking, what's really important is if somebody says something, say somebody gives some criticism against me, I can like write that in water, but I should see it, not just ignore it, but see it and hear what they say. And I should think about it, reflect on it for a minute and see if it's true or not. Because if it's true, they may have just given me a great gift of something about myself. They may have been a mirror to myself to tell me something about myself. And since this world is about soul training, improving ourselves, we've come here to develop and train and improve ourselves. They may actually have told me something that's a great key to something in my life about changing. So we could then, if we find that it's true, we should thank them. Thank you very much for telling me that. I didn't realize that about myself, but I see you're right. I have got that tendency. I have been like that. I will try to change. Thank you so much. If we did that, the person who told us, they might have been feeling angry when they told us. But if we told them, thank you very much, I just see what you said is true, I'm going to try and improve myself, they will immediately forgive us, I think, because they would be surprised that we could take it so well. But secondly, if we reflect and it's not true, we should let it go past. Don't hold on to it. If it's not true, it's not true. We should try to, of course, fix the misunderstanding. There could be a misunderstanding about the way they're perceiving us that might not actually be true, and we should try to make sure that we can clear that up. But these are really the two ways. If it's true, be grateful that someone's told us something about ourselves that we can use to improve. If it's not true, and we can genuinely see within ourselves it's not true, then let it go. Don't hold on to it. Don't hold any resentment. So this final meditation is about making the mind like a mirror. And in this one, this is really about like that type of thinking. It's where we don't hold any. So a mirror, when a mirror is polished, it perfectly reflects everything. If it's a dirty mirror, it doesn't reflect anything. So if we can polish our mind, which means getting rid of any negative thinking or any sort of jealousy or any sort of resentment or any sort of anger or any sort of pride, any of these ways of thinking that will actually dirty our mirror, if we can polish our mirror becomes something that if people have a feeling towards us, for instance, if I create some wealth and someone feels jealous towards me, that jealousy will bounce back to them, because there is actually, if I'm not arrogant, then they're suggesting I'm something that I'm not, and that thought will bounce back to them. If I really am arrogant, then that thought will stick with me because it's actually true. So this short meditation, it's about 5 minutes long. Just imagine that your mind is like a mirror, and your mind is just has no grime, has no dirt. It's perfectly clear mirror reflecting the images coming to you perfectly back. So later on, when you get a chance, imagine your mind's like a mirror, and that it's, if you sit down and just look at what's in your mind, and you looked at your past thoughts and think about what you thought from the morning, even you can think it just on a day, at the end of the day, look it back to see how you thought and check your mind. And if you find anything of any negativity, of any grudges or any feeling of ego or anything like that, eliminate those thoughts, and then imagine your mind is just a perfectly clear and clean like a mirror. Yeah. So I'm going to move on, and because I just do want to finish off by saying something that I saw out of the book that's just coming out next month, and the afterward, with these words from Master Okawa. He said about this, how do we control the curses? This is in the afterword of this book that's coming in a couple of weeks. How do we control the curses that arise from ourselves, and how do we prevent the curses we receive from others? This is one aspect of life practice, and although simple, it is an aspect of enlightenment. See, so this training of us not giving curses on other people is part of enlightenment. It's part of our training in this world to make ourselves become closer and closer to becoming angels or closer to the mind of God. He said, this world operates on the principle of cause and effect. Everything operates on cause and effect. So if I am being cursed, there's a reason for it. If I am putting a curse on others people, there's a reason for it, but there'll also be an effect on me as well. Those who love others will be loved by others, and those who curse others will be hated by others. It's very simple, right? Those who love others will be loved by others, and those who curse others will be hated by others. And if you think about this, you'll see people in your life like that. We all know people who are so kind, so nice, so loving, and we love them. They're such wonderful people. But then when you find other people are always speaking bad about other people, have ill will towards other people, we don't like those people, right? We try to avoid those people. So we don't want to be those people. We want to be the people who are loving others. Love others and will be loved by others. Master said, the conclusion of this book is not so difficult. When you want to curse others, bless others. Give love to others when you want to take it from them. A jealous person is an unhappy person. Now is the time to study selflessness and emptiness and to know what is enough. Let go of your jealousy and strive for useful self-realization. Then you will not suffer for hundreds of years as an unfulfilled spirit of hell. You know, you think, oh, unfulfilled spirit of hell, that sounds a bit serious. But actually, Master Okawa said that 50% of the people in the world today, when they die, don't return to heaven. Of course, we're not like a Christian teaching that might say, once you go to hell, you go there forever and that's it. You know, if you go to hell, that's it. It's all over. No. Hell is a hospital for damned souls. So it's actually a hospital where souls go to reflect on themselves. One of the teachings or key teachings in Happy Science is about self-reflection. It's what we've been talking about today. Because if I reflect on my way of living and my way of thinking, I can see the mistakes that I'm making when I compare that to the ideal way of mind that God would teach us how to have, and I can change myself. And therefore, I ensure I return to heaven when I leave this world. Because definitely the other world exists. Master Okawa talks to it every day, sees it every day. That's why he's here to tell us how to live based on the truth of that world. So if we can live in this way, we're going to be happy now, but we can avoid having the problem of leaving this world and ending up in a place called hell. And really, as Master said, hell is a place where like-minded people attract and gather together. So if I have a mind full of, let's say, greed, you know, when I die, if I'm a really greedy-minded person, when I die, all the people around me are greedy-minded people. I'm with greedy people. And eventually, after being with these people for a period of time, I say, I can't stand these people. They're all so selfish. They're all so self-centered. And then I suddenly go, oh my gosh, I'm like that too. And then we start to change our thinking. So hell is not a place where God sends people because he wants to hurt them and punish them for all the hurt they did to other people. Hell is really just a state of mind. And people can live with that state of mind in this world. But the difference is even if a person is a hellish state in this world, they're still surrounded by many people who are angels or good people, loving people, being kind to them and trying to help them. But when they leave this world, if they've got that state of mind, those people aren't there anymore. The people to support them and try and bring them help and kindness aren't there anymore. They're with the people who are the same as them. There's a place called Ashura Hell, and Ashura Hell is a violent hell. It's people who like hurting people and killing other people or causing pain to other people. So imagine a person creating a mind of violence and enjoying hurting other people, and they die, and everyone around them is the same as that. People killing each other day in, day out, all day, all the time. So these teachings from Happy Science are really trying to teach people in the world today the truth. I feel most of the people in the world, in the room here today, are really good people. So you're people who want to live good lives, who do live good lives, and are kind to other people. But it's really important to know these teachings so that we can learn them deeply, and especially so that we can pass them on to other people. Because as we said before, the world is full of these curses, people putting curses on each other. So today's about making sure we don't do it ourselves, being able to repel the curses that we might receive from somebody else, but also most importantly, or very importantly, is if we do see it, helping other people to change their minds so they don't create suffering in this life and in the next life. Well, thank you all very much for coming today. That was today's seminar on how to protect yourself from curses.